John Heyman was featured on Bleacher Report today, and he was talking all about the Chicago Cubs. He was talking about the fact that it's time for the Ricketts to spend money. He was talking about the fact of Shota Imanaga's contract and what could come of it. And he's also talking about the potential for the Chicago Cubs to re-sign Kyle Tucker. We're going to cover all of that and then some right after this. Welcome in, Chicago Cubs family. Welcome into your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. Hey, listen, if this is your first time watching one of these videos, thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure that you do not miss a second of what we got coming for you this offseason, between the winter meetings, between free agency, between the Chicago Cubs making a lot of decisions on players that played for them. Listen, guys, you don't want to miss it. Make this your number one spot to stop for, to talk about Chicago Cubs baseball. Listen, we got so much to cover. Excited to talk about it all with you. With that being said, I need you guys to do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and of course, make sure that you follow us on X as well as on Instagram. That's at Chicago Cubs Central. That's right. Make sure that you guys also find us on Spotify, on X, as well as Apple. Thank you all so much, everybody that's tuning in. I appreciate you guys. It means the world to me. I put a lot of effort into these episodes, and I want to make sure I put out the best content I possibly can for all of you. Because why? Because you deserve it. That's right. So with that being said, man, listen, the Chicago Cubs, y'all, it's time to pay up. Tom Ricketts, it's time to pay up. Stop being cheap. Stop living by the seat of your pants. It's time to pay up. John Heyman was on he was on Bleacher Report today, and he was talking about the Chicago Cubs and especially Tom Ricketts. You know, it's funny because no longer do people hold Jed Hoyer accountable now for the spending of the Chicago Cubs. They look directly at the Chicago Cubs ownership, which is Tom Ricketts, and they hold him accountable for the fact that the Chicago Cubs have flew by the seat of their pants while they have, overachieved and guys have outplayed their contracts, but the Chicago Cubs have found themselves coming up short. Once again, in this last postseason run in 2025, the Chicago Cubs would have been playing the Dodgers. I have every inclination, every feeling in my heart. The Chicago Cubs would have been playing the Los Angeles Dodgers in the National League Championship Series had they signed Alex Bregman. Had they went and got Kirby Yates, I mean, who knows what could have happened? I mean, he might not have gotten injured. He might have had a better chance and better season with the Chicago Cubs than he did with the Los Angeles Dodgers. But listen, guys, I'm here to tell you now, guys, people want to play for Chicago. They just don't want to play for cheap ownership. That's the problem. That's the issue that we're running into. Guys want to get paid. And I mean, for what it's worth, it's time for the Chicago Cubs to really pay somebody. They still are one of the only clubs that has never signed somebody to a $200+ million contract. Listen, that's chump change in today's markets, especially for a big city market. Come on, guys. Like I said, we need to start expecting more out of our ownership group. Now, listen, we can expect all we want to, but it's up to them to then turn around and make it happen. And it's time for the Chicago Cubs ownership group to spend. It's time for it's time for Tom Ricketts to spend some money. Now, again, Heyman reported that the Cubs are due for a big move this winter. They need to take something that's going to take them over the hump, something that's going to bring them into what is the opportunity of a lifetime, which could be to play for a National League Championship Series. And then, of course, to hopefully go to the big dance, to go to the Fall Classic, the World Series. And again, the Chicago Cubs are very capable of doing that. I still believe in my heart of hearts the Chicago Cubs was the best team in the National League this year. That I guess that was not named the Dodgers. I think Dansby Swanson showed you in the postseason why you go trade for somebody or why you go sign somebody like a Dansby Swanson. I think Jameson Taillon showed you why you go get somebody like J-Mo. And again, I think Carson Kelly was another one, and Seiya Suzuki, another one that showed you like, hey, when it matters most, we can make things happen. Now, the younger guys need to come along, but you can't wait. Your window isn't waiting on PCA, on Owen Casey, on Moises Ballesteros to figure it out. You need, like I said, you have a good team right now that's good enough to compete with the Dodgers, but you need a team that's not just good enough to compete with the Dodgers, a team that's good enough to beat the Dodgers. And again, like I said, you need to, in order to do that, you're going to go out to spend some money. You're going to go out there, have to go out there and sign a $200 million contract. And I know that's not sexy. I know that's not something that that ownership wants to do, but it's something that needs to be done. We need to call on ownership to do this. So names out there, guys, to talk about: Pete Alonso, Cody Bellinger, Eugenio Suarez, Alex Bregman, Merrill Kelly. Different names like this are people that that Chicago Cubs should definitely look at. They need to look at Merrill Kelly as far as starting pitching. I think they can get him for cheap. They need to look at somebody like Devin Williams, who could come in and be a closer for the Chicago Cubs, or a potential closer for the Chicago Cubs. I mean, like I said, there's just so many different options out there right now. We're at the beginning of free agency, and the market is free. Guys, listen, this is the opportunity for the Chicago Cubs to really, really put themselves in another stratosphere, put themselves in position to compete with the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's all about, do you really want to compete with them? Listen, Wrigley Field is sold out every single game. Wrigley Field is sold out every single game. Cubs Con will be sold out. Any spring training games will be sold out. We will fill the ballparks because we love this team. We support this team. We cherish this team, but we want our ownership to treat us like we deserve a World Series, not like we're a team that's just trying to figure it out, like we're just happy competing. We want to win a World Series. This fan base deserves another World Series, and you're so close, so close. I really feel like the Cubs really hit a turning point in this past season. And I think if you add on a piece or two, you could really be looking at a squad that can go out there and make that happen for the Chicago Cubs. So listen, what's your dream scenario? What's your dream piece that you want the Chicago Cubs to sign? I need you guys to comment below. Tell me, what is your dream piece, dream scenario for the Chicago Cubs to sign this offseason? A lot of people say Kyle Schwarber. A lot of people say re-sign Kyle Tucker. You got people out there that want Eugenio Suarez. Some people say Pete Alonso. Again, it's a lot of different names out there, and they could come at a different price. But still, the Chicago Cubs have to make up in their mind that they're going to do all that they can to be a better team. And then again, like I said, we want to talk about what your dream signing is, and then we also want to ask, what's the realistic move that they'll actually make? So let me know in the comment section below, what is the realistic move that they'll actually make? Now, moving on from that, I want to talk about Shota Imanaga. Shota Imanaga, I did a live a couple of days ago, and I was talking about Shota Imanaga because it was announced that not only did he decline his option, but the Cubs declined their club option on him also. And so I kind of prematurely spoke and said, bye-bye, Shota. You know, it was over with. But after a couple days, listen to some other MLB pundits talk and things like that, I realized that, you know, both sides declined their options, but that doesn't mean both sides are done yet. I mean, the Chicago Cubs have shown Shota Imanaga a lot of love since he's been here. They basically made him the face of the organization. He is an all-star with the club. He is, like I said, somebody that was able to pitch really, really well in 2024. 2025 was not his best season, but I still believe that the Chicago Cubs do believe in Shota Imanaga. So I wanted to talk about this theory out there. So there's this thought process out there that says Shota Imanaga actually will come back to the Chicago Cubs on probably the qualifying offer, which they did apparently offer him today, of $22.1 million, a one-year deal, qualifying offer for him. Now, you ask yourself, okay, if you're Shota, why wouldn't you just pick up your option, which was for 1 year? Well, one, he makes more money on this deal than he would on the deal had he just accepted his option. Two, This offers him the absolute flexibility to be able to, after this season, let's say 2027, which we're all expecting a lockout to happen, this allows him to be able to go back to Japan and pitch in Japan if there is a lockout. He is not locked into any contract with the MLB. He will have free reign to be able to choose to go and pitch over in Japan in the KBO in 2027 while this lockout is going on. Because, like I said, I think I've said this before. Enjoy 2026 baseball, y'all, because 2027 baseball might not happen. Or if it does happen, you may get some scrubs out there. But you will not see MLB baseball, I don't think, in 2027. I think they're going to be locked out because of the contract and the contracts that have been going and the salary cap that they want to induce on people. So these are all things to think about. But yeah, I have a strong inclination, just from sources I've talked to and other people, that Shota Imanaga probably will end up coming back to the Chicago Cubs. It'll just be all about what type of deal it is if he accepts that qualifying offer that was handed to him today. So again, if the Chicago Cubs can't keep Imanaga, though, they'll need another top 3 starter and fast. But if they can bring him back on a short deal, it just keeps everything flexible for both sides heading into a year of uncertainty. So again, like I said, let me know your thoughts, guys, on Shota Imanaga and his potential upcoming contract with the Chicago Cubs. Another person that was handed his qualifying offer was Kyle Tucker. I'm going to talk to you after these messages about what to expect from Kyle Tucker. I have been talking ad nauseum, and I still will continue to talk about the product, the brand that has changed my life and can change yours too. What's that product? It's Dubby. It's an all-natural energy supplement that you can take on the daily to help you get through those urges, those moments when you want to nap, then when you hit the cliff, or if you had a long night the night before and need to get through another crazy day of the hustle and bustle, the 9 to 5, whatever you got going on. Dubby is your energy drink. That's right. Not to mention, when you buy a container of Dubby, it actually equals out to almost $1 per drink. You can mix it in with whatever you want, whether that be a juice, whether that be a water, whether that be some type of other energy flavored drink, whatever you want, you can mix Dubby with it and it will do the trick for you. Guys, I don't understand what you're waiting on. Dubby takes care of everything for you. All you have to do is go on to the Dubby website and place your order. And at this time, when you do that, all you have to do is put in Cubs Central Pod 2024. That's right, Cubs Central Pod 2024. And you get 10% off on your Dubby order. That's right. Hey, listen, guys, I'm telling you right now, Jitterless Energy. They have all different types of different flavors for you. Dubby has what you need. Be better with Dubby. Kyle Tucker earlier today was announced as a Silver Slugger Award winner for the year of 2025. Kyle Tucker literally is consistent, and he is the model consistency at the plate. Obviously, he takes his walks. We know that he's a very patient person. He's not going to swing at crap. Although we did see him flail a bunch this year, but I think that was more so due towards his injuries, and I'm attributing that stuff to his injuries, not necessarily to Kyle Tucker just not being a good hitter. And I mean, he still had pretty good numbers, even for somebody that dealt with injuries. Kyle Tucker also was offered a qualifying offer today by the Chicago Cubs. $20.3 million is what that qualifying offer was for Kyle Tucker to play for the Chicago Cubs in 2026. So, like I said, I mean, it's one of those things where you have to look at it and say to yourself, you know, what are the Cubs willing to pay for Kyle Tucker? I full on expect Kyle Tucker to obviously decline that qualifying offer. He's not going to accept that. I do expect Shota Imanaga to accept his qualifying offer. I will be very, very shocked if Shota doesn't accept his qualifying offer. We'll see what happens with that, though. But for Kyle Tucker, back to him, I do expect him to accept his qualifying offer. I do expect him I do expect him to go enter into free agency. I do expect him to talk to other teams. I do expect him to hear from the Dodgers. I do expect him to hear from maybe the Yankees. I do expect him to hear from the Phillies. I do expect him to hear from other teams like that. Personally, I don't think the Phillies can afford to pay Kyle Tucker and afford to keep Kyle Schwarber. I mean, they might be able to. That's a hell of a duo to put with Bryce Harper. To have Kyle Tucker, to have Kyle Schwarber, and have Bryce Harper. That's a hell of a three to have to hit against. And pray to God they don't hit a home run. And then you got Trey Turner. My God, that would be crazy. But again, like I said, we'll just have to see what happens. It's all about Ricketts and what money he wants to spend, what offers he's willing to give. And again, like I said, the Chicago Cubs do have to be smart with their money, but at the same time, it's time to spend, baby. It's time to go out there and get that big name starter. Again, like I said, what are you guys' thoughts? Who do you think the Cubs' big free agent will be? If you had to take a guess, gun to your head, who's the big free agent that the Chicago Cubs are going to sign this season? Let me know in the comment section below, man. Listen, I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys for rocking with your boy. It means the more to me than you guys will know. Make sure that you leave your comments below, leave your thoughts below. I appreciate you guys. Until next time, go Cubs, go. Peace.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the #1 spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.